So in moving on through the nafs, you you may get through the first part of it, but it only opens it up to be able to now you're not prepared to deal with the next level of it. Besides having it be the brother of the nafs or sister, the other way I look at it is two more ways, is drilling down that you can't move on until you get through this specific level. And to trust yourself that things are going exactly the way they should, that Allah is the guide, Yahadi, and that you are moving forward, even though at sometimes it seems like I've been here before. Why do I have to go through this again? I thought I took care of that. That's only because it's familiar. It doesn't mean that this specific aspect of the nafs has yet to be taken care of. But you couldn't take care of it until you gotten that first round done. So now you are ready, and this kind of readiness allows you to keep moving. The trick is to recognize that you are moving forward and not to get caught in the like, I just keep going round and round. I can't get off the merry-go-round. And it's kind of like, no, you're doing fine. It just seems it's familiar, and that's part of the trap as well. So you're working through these different levels of the nafs. So you got the first one down, which got you ready to go to the second one. You get rid of that, and you can move on to the next level and keep moving until the whole dysfunctional family is in the tip. It's never quite what you expect because you don't know where it's going to lead. You don't know where some of the knots are. These energy knots of like, oh yeah, that happened when I was in boarding school, or that happened when my teacher said this to me. You know, they don't seem like much when you look back, but they were critical moments that rooted like a weed and just kept growing. And you didn't even know it. Yeah, that's this is something everybody has to deal with, and even though you may want to kill all the nafs, they just don't do that. They can transform. Their energy becomes shaped into something new when you become conscious of it. You have to be aware of that energy to be able to shift it. So, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, Sheikh. And I think that just sort of, as you were talking, just reflecting on maybe my understanding my own territory and what I mean by that is, like, for me, originally, or still is, it's that nafs where you go into reactive mode, where I feel that I'm pulling away from that and not being as reactive, but internally there's this war going on. There's this dance, of trying to be present or surrender to whatever is happening, but at the same time the nafs wants me to drag me back to the conditioned response. So which led me to the whole thing of surrender and trust. And so it feels like there's just that fire, as you described, is underneath you, where you're wanting to be present and you're wanting to sort of trust and surrender, but yet there's this, the nafs are just like wanting to fight and say, no, you need to, we want to do what we usually do, not go to this unknown territory. So on one aspect, I'm thinking, it's a good sign that I'm not being reactive, but the next or the current step is like, oh, there's all this internal war going on inside. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Rukaya, you experiencing some of that?
Yeah, it's for me right now. I'm imagining back to what you were saying before about having different levels of nafs. It's kind of like when you're weeding and you're at the top off, but you don't get to the roots, and so it keeps coming back. It might take a while to come back, but there are times where you have capacity. I'm thinking about my own garden right now and also my own nafs. So there are times where you can get to them early and you go, oh gosh, you're back again, go away. Let's work on this and fix the problem. And then there are other times where they get like knee high, waist high, and you go, okay, yep, really got to get into the garden there, really got to get into the nafs garden and do a whole heap of work because that's got really deep roots and it's disgusting and prickly, and I maybe haven't had capacity or something beforehand, or maybe haven't even realized it was there.
Right.
Because life, a lot of the time, you end up with blinkers on and you don't realize you're doing something until
I know
later
for
on.
me, some of those weeds that I pretend are okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I find how clever I am at ignoring them.
Oh yeah. You definitely are. Like, oh, you're just acting like ground cover, like you're little, it's okay. The
Yeah,
next
it looks
thing
good.
Your whole garden, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
nothing else is growing here. We're not being successful.
And I'll just put some dirt over that, and you can't see it. And it's kind of like, yeah, that'll work for about a day.
You don't put a blanket over this. No one will know what's there.
Yep. Yeah. So this idea of being honest with yourself, to me, is is part of the work of dealing with nafs, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to be able to be honest with yourself, and how that sometimes, if you ask Allah for guidance, that the reflection of what needs to be done comes in at some way or another. And if you're looking for it, if you're not looking for it, you probably won't see it.
Yeah.
So again, it's learning how to trust your inner guide and learning how to understand that just because it seems like that nafs is now gone, you know, hey, we got a reward, we did really good, bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of the family comes into town.
Mm-hmm.
Stirrups on, guns drawn, and you have to take them down.
The work.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ali, we were started to go into talking about how sometimes you think you've dealt with a level of nafs. The sister from the trailer comes in, and you thought, "What are you doing here? Who are you?" I'm sister of the guy you just took down, and I'm here for revenge. Oh, this is a good story. We've taken you down, and you're going, "What? I have no idea what you're talking about. You know, my brother, you know, the one that you that whole thing about generosity you were dealing with, you know, and being stingy and greedy and everything. Well, I'm the continuation of that, because you're really more stingy than you think you are.
Mm.
And I like that. And you're going, no, girl, you got to go. And dealing, whatever level of nafs you're dealing with is going to be a continuous revelation about what needs to be dealt with now. And to realize and to be honest with yourself, I can't cover this up anymore. I need to deal with this because it's in my face. And that's hard. And it takes it, that's why there's tarika. That's why there's support. Nobody can do this themselves, all by themselves. You need a community to be able to go back and say, and share with each other what's happening with you. And to understand that we're all on similar paths, just not the same path. You can't walk my path and I can't walk yours, but I can commiserate and maybe give you some support and understanding and a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, because then you realize you're not alone.
That's important. You are not alone. And that's kind of part of the process of moving through the maqams, is to realize this. At a certain level, you realize you have an entire army behind you. It's not just you, but all the dervishes from all time are with you. In basically, this path is not necessarily in linear time. And what I mean by that is we have not just all the other dervishes that have been through this to help you, but all the peers and the saints, the prophets, the waliyas, the caliphs, the other sheikhs and murshids from all time. And we go, wait a minute, are you saying that there are souls that are still alive that are helping us? And once again, we go, wait a minute, how can that be? Well, I posit to you the idea that you listen to dead people all the time. In music, we use vibrations to carry pitches, phrases, structure, harmony, melody, and we play the music from people who have long since passed, whether it's Haydn, Bach, Mozart, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, or the John Lennon. Those people have passed, but their vibrations live on. We listen to that and are very often inspired by it. The same thing with all the prophets, the sheikhs, and the dervishes. The vibrations continue on. Just because the bodies have passed means nothing.
So do we each leave our own footprint or vibration, Sheikh,
We can.
when we
Yes.
when we go?
It's often talked about that sometimes the writings or the students that are left behind of different teachers and saints and dervishes continues that song of that person, that melody,
Right. Yep.
if you will. So, what do you think of that? Any comments on it?
When I hear that, it sort of gives a sense of inspiration and motivation to know that I know the practice of rabata, but to know that we're able to, there is that support and that link there through, the sheikhs and the peers and the walis. So it's always there for us. And going back a step when we were talking about the Nafs, I was just reflecting how this one does not ask for help enough from the support network that we do have. So that's one thought, and the other thought was you talking about the vibration and the energy that we leave behind makes you think about being a bit more responsible for one's own energy that one puts out.
I was just thinking about what you said with regards to the vibrations left behind, all the peers and the sheikhs and the dervishes leaving their vibrations behind. I'm just thinking it's not always a useful vibration. I mean, there's all sorts of vibration. Some of it might be useful to me, some of it might not be useful to me. So we also have to learn to discern, right? What works for oneself, and what doesn't work. Even if the person is a wali or a dervish, or their particular message or vibration may not be helpful to me at this stage right now. Right? So discernment is also important.
Right. And that's why we talk about the front pack and the backpack. So you gather up that which is useful now and utilize it, and that which you don't understand or need goes into the backpack, and you pull it out when all of a sudden you realize its importance or its use. I have a Hafez poem to read, if that's okay. We are often in battle, so often defending every side of the fort. It may seem all alone. Sit down, my dear, take a few deep breaths. Think about a loyal friend. Where's your music, your pet, a brush? Surely one who has lasted as long as you knows some avenue or place inside that can give a sweet respite. If you cannot slay your panic, then say within as convincingly as you can, it is all God's will. Now, pick up your life again. Let whatever is out there come charging in. Laugh, spit into the air. There could be holy fallout. Throw those ladders like tiny matchsticks with just phantoms upon them who might be trying to scale your heart. Your love has an eloquent tone. The sky and I want to hear it. If you still feel helpless, give our battle cry again. Hafez has shouted it a myriad times. It is all the beloved's will. What is that luminous rain I see all around you in the future? Sweeping in from the east plain? It looks like holy fallout, filling your mouth and palms with joy. You are a royal fish trying to wear pants in a country as foreign as land. Now, there's a problem worth discussing. Your separation from God has ripened. Now, fall like a golden fruit into my hand. All your wounds from craving love exist because of heroic deeds. Now, trade in those medals. That courage will help this world One needs to love those they have yet to love to stand near the friend. Why be a royal fish trying to wear pants? Hafez, what are you talking about? Has something happened to your once brilliant mind? In the beginning, the first 4 or 5 maqams, I mean, even later on, it isn't a solid lock in that maqam, because you'll find yourself traveling back and forth, up and down, different directions, and you think, wait a minute, what am I doing back in the second maqam? Like we were talking earlier about the nafs, that sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. You have to go through some things, and if you haven't gone through them, then you do have to go back and experience that so you can move forward. So, and I would say there's in regards to maqams, that for everybody, it's not you are third maqam or ninth maqam or whatever. You're shifting back and forth and moving through and gathering information that helps you to move on. Is my experience. And this is just my very, very narrow-minded, bad writing or metaphors attempt at this. This is only the 3rd rewrite. So I can already see all the errors in it. So it's just a way to get things started and maybe get you thinking in some new ways. What'd you think, Yasmin?
Oh, look, I think it's very relevant, and I think it gives us a lot of thought. I think the thing that stood out to me a few maqams ago was our comparison to others. That you always think, oh, so and so is so advanced, or I'm only this, I mean, that's a little dialogue, I suppose, that can go on. But I think ultimately it's, well, I feel anyway, we have to learn to accept what we are at this point of time and just work with that to become more elevated human beings, And I think what Sufism does, I mean, no matter what path one has followed, gives us more awareness of how our dialogue, our internal dialogue, ticks away. And I think it helps us to correct those, albeit not that easy.
I think that's a good question too, is what is your internal dialogue today or now? Because we tell ourselves that these stories, as Al-Amin references quite often, that we're in a kind of story that we believe in, and that should we ever disengage from the storytelling and see things as they really are, the hakika, it's kind of astonishing, surprising. You go, oh, I'm here. Oh, I thought I was, on a voyage around the world, but all I've gotten is from one nafs to the next.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, I think it's a continual journey, and hopefully someday, at some level, whether it's in this world or another world, we get there.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay. Anything else? Alamin, anything you wanted to say?
No, I just sort of agree with everyone's thoughts about the writing. Sheikh, it puts it. I like the visualization of the traveling to the different places, and gives more of a sense of that where one has been to where one is going, and also doesn't mean that because you've been to one place you're not going back to that place again. You may have to go back just for a little visit to clean things up, and then go.
Yeah, you might have forgotten something. Yeah. So the idea of I think it's a mistake to think of it as a linear progression.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a holographic presence of being with it, whatever it is. Ali, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just a question. So this may or may not be related to the maqams, but how do you understand fana, the concept of fana in Sufism? Is it a permanent place that one arrives at, or is it?
I think awareness can have, my experience, different people may have different experiences with this. I tend to see it more as waves rather than a permanent state. Because as a human, we have things to take care of. Whether it's family or work or the train has derailed or there's some emergency, the toilet has overflowed, things to take care of. And to be in a state of complete ecstasy would not be helpful for fixing the toilet. So I think it's phased, or maybe in kind of a wave form or tuning according to what's needed at the time. Because there's different parts of the brain that we use, whether it's the hippocampus or the front lobe or the medulla, or, they all have different functions. And then there's the heart. Okay?
Thanks, Sheikh.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen.
Thanks, Sheikh. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sheikh.
Bye.
Salaam Alaykum, murids, seekers, curious, and interested listeners. We appreciate you and are happy to share our Sufi message. Your donation will help support our Sufi Center in Sydney, where we do zikr, sohbet, spiritual counseling, and healing services. We believe the message should be free, but it costs equipment, rental, services, software, and hardware to get this to you. So thank you for choosing our podcast among all the millions available. If you go to our website, ansarisufiorder.org, you will be able to donate through PayPal whatever you think this information is worth to you. Blessings and love, the Australian Ansari Sufi order.